Hey everyone, thanks for joining our latest webinar in our Ticket Tailor webinar series. I'm Rio, and you probably know that if you've dived in before. And I'm here today with Tom and Claire, our product team. And
Hello.
we're super
Hello.
excited to talk to you about our new reporting features and our new reporting tools. As always, this webinar is being recorded, so it will be on YouTube and sent to you if you want to go back and look at anything, rewatch anything in detail. And we also got a Q&A. So if you have any questions as we're going through, please pop them in the Q&A. If there's anything when you're looking at the reporting tools that you really want to report on and want us to show you how to do it, we'll do our best. So please pop that in the questions. If you've got any initial feedback or just any other questions as we're going through, please make use of that feature. And yeah, I'll just kick straight off. So Tom, what is the new event report and why did we build it?
Yeah, well, why did we build it? Because we heard pretty loud and clear from our event organizer community that they were missing somewhere in Ticket Tailor that they could go and just get the at-a-glance view of like, how's my event going? How are my ticket sales going? How many have I issued? And find all of that information out quickly, rather than having to go and download reports from here or visit a page over there. And then also it's kind of a place, I guess, that we think you can kind of drill down and get into the details and hopefully derive some insights that you can use to kind of improve and work on how you offer your events.
Awesome. So I'm going to share my screen, and you might be familiar with Ticket Tailor, hopefully, and this is the actual webinar event that we are in right now. And just to demonstrate, when I go into event reports on the left-hand side, you'll see your new report here. And I've only got one ticket type for this event. But what I think is really cool with this report is I can scroll down and at a glance, like Tom was saying, get a really nice view of our sort of marketing and the impact of our marketing in this ticket type timeline. So here you can see this big spike is when we first announced this webinar and lots of people were excited, which is great. Thanks for joining us. And then this is the second email reminder that we sent out as well. So it's really cool just to see the direct impact that's having on ticket sales, and hopefully you'll be able to track your marketing as well a bit more easily at a glance. Tom, what other scenarios did you think that did we hope or did we design this to help event organizers with?
I think being able to understand how your marketing is having an effect directly on the tickets that are being issued, but also just being able to kind of dive in, as I said, and drill down a bit. So I'll take over sharing from you, Rio. So here we go. We've got this is our Santa's Grotto event. This is a recurring event. So it has many different occurrences in the same series. And what we're seeing here is obviously we've got a few more different ticket types on offer. I can see how those are split across things. And I can, kind of dive into the details, and I can, as you showed before, see on the timeline how things are going over time. But sometimes maybe, especially if you run a recurring event, you want to see how an individual time slot or a particular date range is performing. So let me just pull that up. So I've got, here we go. Well, I have in the, which one did I do it? Saturday the 11th. So if I apply that now, we're filtering this report. So you're just seeing the tickets that were issued for that particular occurrence. It hasn't changed much because I did most of my ticket purchases for that one. But we can see now for that occurrence how it's going. If we wanted to, we could dive even deeper into it and see, kind of how things are going by ticket price. So if we've got tickets that maybe cost more than I think £3 was my my cutoff. So here we go. So if I add that as a filter now, we can see how those are performing. So I can really dive in and see how these sales are going, what's moving fast, what maybe needs a bit more of a push. And also, I would guess this is kind of useful if you're planning, maybe staffing or kind of operational arrangements for upcoming events. You can kind of see here how things are going and plan around that, hopefully.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like, I know a lot of event organizers with Christmas events have different sort of Christmas gifts for children of different ages. So I can just imagine people going in doing exactly this the day before and knowing how many presents to get ready, or yeah, that kind of thing as well. And are there other sort of things you can track in terms of like that would help with marketing?
Yeah, there are. In fact, actually, one that I think kind of could be quite powerful. So I'm just going to add a filter here for showing the day of the week. So I can see this is a recurring event. It happens over multiple days. So you can see, for example, my Thursdays. You know, I don't know. I've left that issue. So we don't do many ticket sales on a Thursday here, right? But I can see what moves on a Thursday. Compare that with my weekend sales and see how those are. Right, we're seeing a lot more of the kind of family tickets shifting here. So what I could do with that, and what I anticipate some of our event organizer community might want to do, is start to understand a bit more about how demand shifts through the season, through the days of the week. And then you can use things like our overrides feature to add in sort of dynamic pricing if you want to have maybe more expensive tickets at the weekend, or you want to only offer discounted ticket types at a certain time. The other thing that you'll see if I take all the filters off again is that you can see here when something like a discount is being used. So here we've got our individual tickets, but these were bought with a 10% off discount code. So again, I can understand, how's my marketing affecting that? Are people buying more of them when I've, you know, perhaps maybe tied that to a piece of marketing or a promotion that I'm doing, and understand how that's translating to ticket sales actually happening in real time.
Awesome. I'm really excited that this has been released, and hopefully some of you watching are excited to go in and drill down on your own events. We haven't got any questions in the Q&A, but if you do have anything that you want to specifically ask about this report, please feel free to drop it in. But in the meantime, we've got something really super exciting, which is a little preview of another report we've been working on. So I'm going to hand over to Claire, who's going to explain this new preview report to everybody.
Thank you, Rio. Yeah, I'm really excited actually to present this new report today. So this is a revenue report that is aiming at giving you an accurate picture of the sales revenue at any given time and before fees. So the feature is currently in a preview feature, which means that it's a feature that we're going to be offering to a small group of customers who will get an early access, as well as the opportunity to provide some feedback before it's made available to everyone. The great news is that everybody joining today will have the preview access, and the preview access link will be added to the message that will be sent with the recording, most likely tomorrow. And I guess the main reason we've been developing this feature is because we've had quite a lot of requests around the fact that it was not very easy at the moment to get an accurate picture of the revenue. And the reality is, like, the only way to do that at the moment is to actually go through your orders, export them, put that in an Excel spreadsheet, and do some calculation. So now with the revenue report, you guys will be able to easily get that information directly via the dashboard, which is exciting. In terms of what you can do with this report, I will be just sharing my screen in a second and talk you through that. Bear with me just 1 second.
No worries. Yeah, I'm super excited to share this with everyone. We do get a lot of questions in, and we've been playing with this in the office, and I hope everyone's really going to love it.
Cool. So I'm showing my screen now, and this is what it looked like for our box office. So the way we have laid out this is that the way to access it is via the order section here. You now have a side section on the left panel, which is where you manage your order, and now we have this new section, which is the sales report. So yes, this is what it looks like. There is a different section within the report. First of all, the revenue, which includes a breakdown of everything that you have within your orders that are made. A refund section, a total of the revenue after the refund are deducted. A tax section, and finally, revenue after refunds and tax that have been deducted. So hopefully that's gonna paint a very useful and accurate picture of how the revenue is calculated. I guess in terms of like what you can do with this report, there's just a few things that I'd quite like to highlight today. So the first time you land on this page, by default, you're going to be seeing your overall revenue. So that could be obviously like extremely valuable. But where it gets quite interesting is that you will have the ability to drill down and to apply some filter. So for example, if I want to see the revenue that I have made for a specific event, I can select the event filter, which then is going to show me all my events. I have quite a few, but I'm going to pick the Good Music Fest, for example. Here we go. And then I will be able to see the revenue that I have made for that specific event. Another scenario that will be interesting, especially if you're running events that have occurrences, is that you can drill down to an occurrence level with this report. So I'm just gonna show you another example. For example, with the Santa's Grotto event. So here I'm going to be able to select occurrences. So I have quite a lot of events because we're using that for our testing, but let's assume that I want to see the revenue that I have made for the occurrence that were in 2020 and 2022. I can just select those here, click on done, and I will be able to see the revenue that I have made for those specific occurrences. Something else that I wanted to highlight as well is the fact that you can show the revenue for a specific date range. So let's assume that you've been running a campaign during the months of August, for example, because it was quiet in August. So you've been running a campaign. You can use the order created on or after to select here from the 1st of August. So that will display all the orders and the revenue associated with those orders after the 1st of August. And now if I want to create a date range for just August, I'm just gonna select the 1st of September being, so to create my date range. There's not a lot happening, but this gives you an idea of how you can use those filters. Finally, the last filter that I wanted to go through today is the payment method. So you have the ability to see your revenue based on the payment method that your customer have been using. So here, for example, let's assume that I want to see all the orders that have been made offline. I select the payment method and I will be seeing all the orders that have been made online. So that's a short like roundup of the things that you're going to be able to do with the revenue reports. And as I mentioned earlier, you will get a link to access it after the webinar tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll definitely send that around. Thank you, Claire. That was a great overview, and I hope for people watching that was really helpful. We have had a question come in from Ollie, who's asked, will the sales reports with the revenue be downloadable? Presumably because you want to share this or have it somewhere else to use this data.
Yeah, it's a great question. So it's not something that we have prioritized for this first version, as we really wanted to make the priority on visualizing the data as well as the ability to filter. But it's definitely something that I keep note of, and I can imagine a lot of people will want to be doing. So it's definitely gonna go on the list of feedback for future implementation.
And what about the other report, the issue tickets report? Is that also going to be exportable at some point?
It is. And actually, it is now exportable as of about an hour ago. That new feature just went live. So yeah, you can download a nice, pretty PDF of that report. So if you've got people that you're, sharing your issue ticket data with, who want to know how the event's going, and they're not necessarily using Ticket Tailor, now you've got an easy way to download that and send it to them.
Thanks, Tom. We don't have many more questions in the Q&A around reports because you did such a great job of demonstrating them. if anyone does have any feedback as they're going through, especially with the revenue report, we'd love to hear it. So please do send it to customer support. We do have one other question, which is not related to reports, but I thought as we have a bit of time, you might not mind asking it. So Richard has asked about future updates and whether we're planning to add any time-saving, like buyer cancelling their own orders features, because they have a lot of tickets being bought and a lot of customers to manage. So reporting hopefully will be a bit quicker, but that kind of things. Yeah, what are our plans there?
Yeah, great question. So without kind of being able to give too much detail at this stage, then the answer is a tentative yes. We've got a project ongoing at the moment. The first stage is a way for your buyers to be able to actually view their own orders. And that currently exists, but it's not rolled out to anyone yet. So we'll be looking for people to kind of volunteer helping, giving us that early feedback on some of that. But then the next thing that we're moving on to is a way for people to transfer their orders. So particularly if you've got, and you may already be doing this yourselves in the dashboard, if someone can't make a particular date, you transfer their order to another event in the same series. We're looking at how we can make that available for ticket buyers to do that in a self-serve fashion, and kind of trying to understand what some of the parameters and constraints are that you'd want in place for that. And then cancelling is a bit more of a thorny issue. We ran a survey around this a few weeks back, and it seems that there's quite a lot of varying opinions and kind of policies, I guess, on when people would be happy to let someone cancel their own orders. So it sounds like that's a bit more complex, and we'll be looking into that and working out how we can try and address something like that. But yeah, stay tuned, I guess.
Cool. And Graham's also staying tuned for that. Thanks for the comment there. So yeah, glad that was the answer that a lot of you were hoping for. Terry's also come in with a question to ask, back to reporting now, if there's any way to know the number of tickets sold this month versus last month. So to track sort of sales a number of days before the event.
So yeah, the great question. There isn't a way to sort of see those overlaid or side by side, as it were, but you can use a bit like Claire was showing with the date range filters. Let me just share my screen again and I can show you what I mean. So if I wanted to see for this event, when the let's do October because that was easy. So we'll do start date before 1st of November. There we go. So this is just looking at October's events. We actually don't have any in that range, so that's why we're not seeing anything. And then if I wanted to see what September was like, for example, I would change those dates accordingly. There we go. And hopefully we'd have some. No, we've got no dates in that range either. I should have picked a better one that actually had some date range. But that would be the way I'd do it, is to do kind of the filter on the month or week or whatever you want to see. But we haven't got a way to sort of represent them side by side. You could always open the two in separate tabs in your browser and flick between them that way, and that might be an easy way to kind of quickly eyeball the difference. And
exporting them as well. You could potentially export both, exactly, and look at both reports side by side.
So use this handy little export button that just appeared in the last hour.
And would the graph at the bottom be indicative of that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So the graph on this one isn't actually that helpful because we set this event up back in 2020. So there's a very wide date range spanning it there. You can actually narrow that down if I want to look at tickets that were issued just in the last month. And there are definitely some of those because you and I were buying them, Rio. So that makes it slightly easier. That's how you might be able to see, like, in this week we had a tiny bump in sales, but it's really all happened in the last week as Rio and I got ready for the webinar. So yeah, that's how you can kind of narrow the range on that graph. So you can actually drill down to a much smaller time period, and the narrower the window of time you're looking at, the more detailed and granular the data. So you'll see day by day if you go down to a tinier event, a tinier window of time.
Oh, and we just had another question jump in. So will there be a way to link tickets into a payment system through a terminal? Okay, so this is sort of another what's on the roadmap kind of question. I was reading it as it was coming in. So asking about linking, if someone's using like Square Terminal, how can they link that into Ticket Tailor? Because that would help with overall reporting of all events in person and Ticket Tailor in the long run.
Yeah, so we've begun exploring some of this with some of our partners. So actually speaking to Stripe, who are our main payment partner provider, about what functionality they offer. It's in very early stages and kind of exploring and sounding out at the moment. So again, it's a sort of stay tuned for this one. Listen out for, we will probably be asking for people to help, you know, preview and look at things before it's ready for rolling out to all of our box offices. But yeah, stay tuned on that one. We definitely like to have a way to do a better job of in-person payments. I mean, it's clear, obviously, in the years since, you know, kind of lockdown, as a lot of events went online fully, and things have kind of gone back to a blend of online and walk-ups. And we're aware that, you know, the solutions we offer for that aren't great. So yeah, it's something we definitely want to be offering. I can't give you any sort of firm timeframes on it. It's very much in the early stages, that piece.
I also want to mention that we do already integrate with Stripe Terminal. So that is another option. It's obviously easier if you're using Stripe. I think, Tom, when you asked this, you asked about Square. But if you are using Stripe as a payment provider, you can use their hardware already. So we do have that integration.
But I think the thing I'd love to just kind of clarify is that if possible, I think we'd like a way that wouldn't require you necessarily to go out and get new hardware. So either something that makes use of, you know, the kind of native payments that you can do on mobile devices, or else something that will, you know, partner up with Bluetooth devices that you've already got. So for example, a Square Reader or Zettel or those kinds of things. But yeah, it is very early exploratory stages at the moment, working out how we'd make that integrate with the rest of Ticket Tailor.
We've had another question come in about how to check on specific tickets and like who's ordered them. And I suppose, as this is about reporting, something we didn't mention, we've talked about all of our new features, but we haven't specifically mentioned about our existing reporting, which was on your orders page. So if you did want to look up specific order information, you can still do that the same way by going to orders here. If you wanted to search for a specific order, you could search, I'll put my name in there. I'm sure I've bought some tickets for myself. Yeah. You can filter by name here to get specific orders, and you can also select a bunch of orders and export them. So if you want to really drill down into your biggest ticket buyers, who's bought what, if you want to get those questions, custom questions that you've asked in the checkout form, going from orders and exporting is the easiest way to do that. And I hope that answered the question. If not, maybe write in specifically to customer support if there's a specific bit of if there's a specific order question that you have that you can't get out of here, in case I didn't quite understand that question. But yeah, anything that you can't get from the insight reports, you should be able to export from your orders tab, as we've probably been doing previously. Got a couple more questions. I'm just trying to read them through to see what we've got time for, as we might be on to the final question. I'm not quite sure I understand. The last one, we've got one from Peter. Is there any way Ticket Tailor can add in when a table is purchased, there can be individual tickets? Okay, this is a general product question about seating charts, I think, and the way we issue seating charts. So at the moment, when you set up a seating chart, you can choose to sell tables as a whole or individual tickets around a table. However, for this specific event setup question, I'd really recommend getting in touch with customer support, because there are a couple of workarounds and they'll be able to work with you to set up your event in hopefully the best way. Just having a little look through, I don't think there's any more reporting questions, but if you do have any more questions, please drop them into customer support or reply to the email in this recording, and we'll get back to you. We'd love to hear your feedback to keep improving on these and keep building new stuff. Hopefully this webinar has showed you a little bit about how we work, which is listening to all of your requests, building something and then sharing it with you. And as Claire mentioned, the link for the revenue report will be sent with the recording for this webinar. So hopefully you can all start using that and getting loads more insight more easily. Yeah, thanks everyone for joining, and yeah, this is the worst rounding up of a webinar I've ever had. I'm just going to say bye and end it there. Thanks for sticking with us to the end.
Thanks, everyone.
That was helpful.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.